Okay, welcome to your second AP Lit grammar video of the year. You should have this handout out. You should be ready to take notes, ready to do the practice. Then tomorrow we will debrief and you will do the exit ticket. Today we're learning all about how to avoid fragments and how to avoid run-ons so that we have beautiful, complete sentences so that we can communicate clearly in our writing. So let's get started with our 3 complete sentences. We've got example A, B, and C here. These are all different types of sentences, but they're all complete sentences. And we'll look at these in just a second a little bit closer. So A, after Miriam's mother dies, comma, she lives for a short while in Herat with Jalil. Here we have a dependent or subordinate clause, and then we have an independent clause, and they are connected by a comma. B, I take AP Lit, comma, but she takes IRC. Here I have an independent clause. Here I have a second independent clause. They are connected with a comma and a conjunction. C, I am very excited to write my essay, semicolon. Writing is my favorite thing to do. I have 2 independent clauses. There's one here. There's one here, connected with a semicolon. This should sound like review so far. Let's look at what happens whenever we don't punctuate things correctly. So we know that a complete sentence must have a subject and a verb, and it has to have an ending punctuation mark, which might be a period, an exclamation point, or a question mark. Sometimes, however, we have fragments, and your sentence might be a fragment if it's missing a subject or a verb. In this non-example, this is a fragment because this has no verb in it. Miriam's mother. Well, Miriam's mother what? We need a verb there. Miriam's mother dies. Miriam's mother cries. Miriam's mother yells. Those are all verbs that would complete the sentence, but currently it's a fragment. We also might have a fragment if you begin with a subordinating conjunction and it leaves you hanging and wanting more information. So for example, after Miriam's mother dies, that sentence cannot stand on its own because we are left wanting more information. Well, what happens after she dies? So this by itself would be a fragment and not a complete thought, not a complete statement. So those are fragments. On the other hand, we also have run-ons. Run-ons occur when 2 independent clauses have not been properly punctuated and not properly joined together. So here's an example. I take AP Lit, she takes IRC. Well, I know I have an independent clause here. I take AP Lit, subject I, verb take. She takes IRC as a second independent clause. The subject is she, the verb is takes. And I have to join these 2 together correctly. I already know how to do this. I have 4 different options that we went over last week. I can do a comma in a conjunction. So I could say, I take AP Lit, comma, but she takes IRC. That would be great. I could also just put a semicolon. I take AP Lit, semicolon, she takes IRC. Now those are correctly punctuated. I could add a subordinating conjunction. I take AP Lit because she takes IRC. Or I could get fancy with my semicolon and say, I take AP Lit, semicolon, conversely, comma, she takes IRC. Those are how we connect 2 independent clauses. If we are missing any of those connectors, it is a run-on. Sometimes students recognize that we have 2 different clauses, but rather than joining them correctly, they just put a comma. So I am very excited to write my essay is our independent clause. Essay 2. Oh no. Our second independent clause is writing is my favorite thing to do. You cannot just connect these with a comma. You need to do a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon or any of these other things. I have a visual to explain this to you. So give me 1 second and then I'll be back with a new screen. Okay, so we have 2 independent clauses here. Here's independent clause number 1. Here's independent clause number 2. These are 2 different clauses and each clause lives in his own house because he is completely independent from the other clause. They don't need each other to survive. They're existing just fine on their own. You'll notice that these 2 independent clauses are divided very clearly there by a fence. So it's the same thing in sentences. When you have 2 independent clauses, you have to clearly divide them so that we know who belongs in which house. So for example, by adding a semicolon or a comma and a fanboy, and that's how you connect the two independent clauses. Okay, I'm going to go away for a second and then I'll be back on the note sheet. Okay, we're back to your handout. You have a couple of practices I want you to do now. In practice number 1, these sentences need to be revised. They might be run-ons, they might be fragments. Change them any way you need to so that they're correctly punctuated. We will review these tomorrow, at least some of them. And then for practice number 2, you have 4 multiple choice style questions. Again, we'll review some of these tomorrow, so please come with them ready to go and any questions that you may have. When you come to class tomorrow, we will also have an exit ticket. So I hope you had a great time watching this video and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.